You just spent $14 on a coffee you didn't want, at an angle you didn't like, for a photo you'll delete in 24 hours anyway. And somewhere, without you noticing, your bank account got a little bit quieter. Here's the part nobody says out loud. You are not broke because you're bad with money. You are broke because, every single day, you are feeding a fire that was never yours to feed, and the fire doesn't care how much it costs you to keep it burning. Think about it for 1 second. Not the coffee, not the outfit, not the trip you had to post. Just the feeling, that tiny itch that says, if I don't show them this, did it even happen? That itch is 50,000 years old. Long before phones, before money, before Instagram existed, your ancestors sat around an actual fire, and the size of what you threw into it, meat, wood, anything rare, told the tribe exactly where you stood. Contribute big, you're valuable. Contribute nothing, you're forgotten, and forgotten meant unprotected. Out there alone, unprotected wasn't a metaphor. It was how people actually died. That circuit in your brain never left. It just got a new fire. Except this one isn't in a village square with 30 people who'd actually carry you home if you got hurt. It's a feed. Hundreds, maybe thousands of half-strangers, and every one of them scrolls past your offering in under 2 seconds, and you'll never know if it landed, so you throw in more. A better angle, a pricier bag, a trip you financed instead of saved for. That's the trade nobody explains to you. You're not spending on things anymore. You're spending on being seen having things. And those are not the same purchase. One fills a cabinet, the other empties an account and leaves you with nothing to show for it once the story disappears in a day. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. This isn't a one-time slip. It's a subscription you never signed up for. Every week you keep feeding this fire, you're not just spending money, you're training your own brain to treat being watched as a basic need, right next to food and rent. And once that wiring sets in, it doesn't ask permission before it spends. It just spends quietly, before your rational brain even gets a vote. There's a name researchers gave to part of this. They call it spendception. The idea is simple and a little frightening. The less you feel the money leaving your hand, the less pain your brain registers, and the easier it is to spend more than you meant to. Tap. Gone. No paper bill, no coins, no sting. Now stack that on top of the tribal fire instinct, and you get something almost designed to drain you. An invisible transaction, feeding an ancient hunger for approval, repeating itself every single day without a single alarm going off. You didn't create this trap, but you are the one paying rent on it. And the rent goes up every time the fire needs a little more to stay impressive. So here's where it gets interesting, because there was one week. I want you to picture this like it actually happened to someone you know, where a woman named nothing in particular, let's just say she's you for 4 minutes, decided to check her bank statement instead of her notifications. And what she found wasn't one big reckless purchase. It was 11 small ones. A skincare set she saw a stranger holding. A dinner she didn't finish, ordered because the plating looked good on camera. A dress worn once for one photo, still tagged. A candle she never lit, bought because it looked expensive next to a coffee cup. 11 small offerings to a fire that gave her nothing back. Not warmth, not safety, not even a memory really, just a number that quietly got smaller week after week, while she genuinely believed she wasn't the type to overspend. And here's the twist that actually reframes everything. The algorithm showing you all those perfect lives isn't neutral. It's not showing you truth, it's showing you bait. The version of a person's life that gets pushed to your screen is the version engineered to make you feel behind, because a viewer who feels behind stays longer, taps more, buys faster. You're not competing with your neighbor's real life. You're competing with a highlight reel, built by a system that profits every time you feel small enough to spend your way back to feeling big. Once you see that, you can't unsee it. The fire isn't even a real tribe. It's a machine wearing a tribe's face, and it was built by people who get paid every time you feed it a little more. And the obstacles don't stop there. Because even once you know this, walking away isn't simple, Every time you try to post less, spend less, perform less, there's a version of you whispering that you'll disappear, that the fire will forget you exist. That whisper is old and it is loud, and it is exactly why so many people who know better still keep throwing money into a flame that never once looked back at them. There's a second obstacle, quieter but just as heavy. Everyone around you is doing it too. So it doesn't feel reckless, it feels normal. It feels like the baseline cost of simply existing in a world where everyone is watching everyone. And when a bad habit feels normal, it stops looking like a habit at all. It just looks like life. So you sit there for a moment, and it feels like there's no way out, spend and stay visible, or stop and vanish. That's the trap as it's designed to feel. But it's a false choice, and here's the piece that changes everything. The tribe around a real fire 50,000 years ago actually saw you. They remembered your name. They'd share their own meat with you next winter because that's what a tribe does, it gives back. The feed gives back nothing. It cannot carry you home. It cannot remember your name past the next scroll, which means every dollar you send it isn't buying belonging, it's buying the illusion of belonging at full price with zero return. The moment that lands, something shifts. You stop asking, how do I get noticed more, and start asking a much better question. What would I actually build if I stopped paying admission to a fire that was never warming me back? That question is the whole unlock, because the people who quietly get ahead financially aren't the ones who found some secret trick. They're the ones who simply stopped mistaking an audience for a tribe. They still enjoy the coffee. They still take the trip. They just stopped needing anyone to witness it to make it count. And the second that need loosens its grip, the spending that was leaking out of them for years starts staying in their account instead. Not because they became stricter, but because the hunger driving the leak finally got fed something real instead of something borrowed. That's the transformation. Not austerity, not deleting your accounts, just taking your fire back, building it small, private, and warm for the handful of people who'd actually show up for you offline, instead of an audience that was never going to remember your name once the story expired. Picture that fire now, the real one. Smaller, quieter, no performance required to sit near it. Nobody scrolling past you in 2 seconds, just warmth that doesn't cost you anything to keep. And here's the part I'll leave you with, because it's bigger than money. If an ancient instinct can be hijacked this easily by a feed, what else in your daily life is quietly being fed by something that was never designed to feed you back? That's worth sitting with, longer than a story ever lasts.